Now, let me tell you something before we get too much into this, because we're going to give you a detailed description of how to calculate this fee. But before we get into it, let's talk about it for a moment. First, you need to understand that talking to about the fee needs to happen at this step, as step number 3. You potentially could have individuals calling you the moment they get that letter that we talked about yesterday, okay? Because it refers to the fee in there. And they might look at that, and they're going to get on the phone, and they're going to say, you know, I was just looking for an accountant. How much do you charge? Now, you might be tempted to say, well, you know, give them a ballpark number. Don't do that. Why? Because most people don't understand the benefits you offer. Okay? And any fee might be too much. So you need to put that question off. You need to avoid answering that question until you've gotten to this point in the discussion. One way to do it is simply just tell them, it depends upon what services you need me to offer and how big your business is. Because that's truly what it does mean. And they'll typically understand that and accept that. Okay? Now, if they really press you, I've said a time or two that, you know, it could be as low as $125, because it really could. If their services are minimal or their business is very small and I could do the whole work in less than an hour, yeah, I could do it for that. But I don't tell them that. I just simply tell them it could be as low as $125. I really don't know until we've had a chance to sit down. So that way it's put that off. But don't offer that until they've really pressed hard. Simply try to avoid discussing fees until you get to this point. One way to do that also is to just simply say, you know, I'm really anxious to have you as a client. I'm going to give you a very good price. Okay? Just let them know that you're going to give them a price that is reasonable to them. Now, there's two different ways of charging. There's what we call a retainer fee, or there's hourly charges. And depending upon the service, you'll want to choose one of those. If it's a one-time service, then you charge hourly, okay? If, for instance, they're asking you to just come in and help them understand their books, okay? Help them understand their financial statements, or help them create their financial statements, sort of like what Alicia talked about a few minutes ago. You might charge just $75 an hour, okay? Because you don't know how long it's going to take. You don't know if you're going to be able to do it in an hour or if it's going to take 5 hours to do that. So you just quote in that fee. And since it's a one-time charge, they recognize that that's the way it needs to be done. If they need to have some cleanup work done, where they've just made a mess, but they're willing to, they just need someone to come up and clean it up and get them back on the right path, $50 an hour. Okay? If they want you to help them set up their computer, get them set up in some accounting software, $65 an hour is the going rate, okay? Again, because you don't know how long, you don't know if it's going to be a day or 5 days or an hour or whatever. So you've got to charge by the hour. However, where you have a service that's going to be performed every month, you're better off choosing a retainer fee. Okay? Now, the retainer fees are preferred by small business owners. They just like it because they know how much it's going to charge them or cost them to do it every month. It's based on their monthly entries so that you can move it, you can adjust it based on the entries. Now, you'll give them a fee and you'll say for the next 6 months this is what it's going to be. But for a business that's got a lot more entries, the fee is going to be higher than a business that's got fewer entries. And just to let you know that the average is $300 on the monthly bookkeeping process, and that's for about 6 to 8 hours of work every month.